Alright, hey guys, so it's been a minute since I did a car chit chat. So I've had a lot going on these last couple of weeks. I went to Houston. I had a couple of events come up, some festivals, and Mother's Day weekend was this past weekend. So I kind of been like really on the go. So I just really haven't had the opportunity to kind of really do some chit chatting and a lot of content recently. But I wanted to talk to you guys like about a topic in my going out. This topic has been like very prevalent in my life and in the forefront of my mind. And I want to talk to you guys about tipping. Like, I understand and I'm all for, you know, tipping people for like good services, good things that they've done, providing you with great service. I'm all for that. I tip, you know, my lash tech, I tip the person that does my hair, I tip get my nails done. You know, I tip on a lot of my, you know, beauty services, especially my hair and my lashes, because sometimes, like, especially when it comes to my hair, I can be like very last minute. Like, I'll hit her up like a week in advance, sometimes like the same week, like, hey girl, you know what you got available. I don't know, I just have a lot going on, so it's like making like far plans in the future to kind of get like these services done. It just doesn't really like sit well with me. Like, I know it's like crazy because it's kind of like, oh, sorry guys, I got something in my eye. Alright guys, I'm back. So I know like my beauty services is something that I probably should be scheduling like far in advance, getting that schedule taken care of. But my hair, I just kind of just don't really make it a priority. It's kind of like, oh, I get him, you know, when I can. My lashes, now I schedule that on time early, just because like she has very limited availability, so I try to so I can get the time frame that I want. I go ahead and schedule that out like a month in advance, and I go every 2 weeks. So I have it, my appointments for May are already scheduled, and I'm probably actually going to start scheduling June, because I like to go on Sundays to get my lashes done. But anywho, so let's just talk about tipping for a little bit. So I do, you know, I agree, and I'm here for the tip. Even when I've done like some service type jobs before, I was looking forward to my tip. However, the issue that I have with tipping is, how do you determine what is a proper tip? Like, I know like during the pandemic, you know, a lot of restaurants were losing business because, you know, the world shut down. You couldn't, you know, people couldn't go outside, people couldn't go to work. So people lost like a lot of money. So when things opened back up, a lot of restaurants started doing these service fees, charges on the bill. And so I've seen service fees 15%, I've seen them 18%, and I've seen them 20%. So my issue is, number one, who determines these percentages? Why is a tip dictated by the amount that you spend? Who came up with this? And why is this standard? Because just because you spend X, Y, and Z on a service does not mean that your tip should be a percentage of the service. Like, if I go to a restaurant and I sit at the bar and say, oh, I really want a steak, so I go and I order me a $50 steak. But why does my tip has to be 15, 18, 20% of this $50 steak, and that's all I had, and because I had a glass of water? And the bartender, you know, I don't need anything because I'm very easygoing. I don't have a lot of requirements. So I got my silverware, my glass of water. I'm Gucci. So why is it that I have to pay an extra 15, 18, 20% on top of a $50 steak when I only got one thing? I see, like, you know, you go out somewhere and you want to, you know, buy things, but it's just like, why do I have to, like, I come up here, I spend X, Y, and Z on this food, and then here it is, I got 20% service charge, and I'm hit with a $30 tip that I have to spend. And then on top of that, it's like, some restaurants don't even tell you, number one, that there's going to be a tip, automatic tip added to your bill. They like to disguise it as a service charge, right? So let's break this down. So if I'm going to be paying 18%, 20%, 15% service charge, why is it that when I go out with my friends, and let's just say it's 4 of us, and you come back with a check, one check, and say, oh, we can't split the bill? Okay, so if the service charge, as y'all like to say, is not the tip, then what am I paying for? What's included in this service charge? What am I getting with this service charge? You know, because now you're having me calculate a bill and do some math like I work here. And, you know, depending on, you know, oh God, y'all, I'm over here chit-chatting with y'all, and I didn't went the wrong way. Oh, not yet. I just need to get over. Okay. So why is it if I'm paying a service charge and you're charging me for some service, but you don't want to split the check? You know, like, I just think I'm baffled, because what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I'm paying you a percentage to do, like, your job. Like, I'm not getting it. So, you know, I really think that restaurants really need to break down, what is the service charge? What are you charging me? What kind of services are you doing that requires me to have to pay this service charge? Okay? So that's what I need to know. Outside of what you're already supposed to be doing. I come to a restaurant, I want to dine in, I expect to be greeted when I come in, seated at my table, and then I have a server that will, you know, take my food order, bring me what I need for my food, my drinks, you know, all that. So what is the service charge? What am I being charged? So the other thing that gets me with the service charge is the waitresses, like, or the servers, I should say, because they're meant to. They you know, they do the bare minimum with the service. They don't check on you. You only seen them like 3 times since you've been there for like 2 hours. You're constantly waiting on necessities like silverware. You know, you get walked to your table, you don't have no silverware. Or when they take your plate, they take your silverware. Okay, so what are you going to eat? Because you only had 1 fork and 1 knife. What you going to use? Or, you know, your water cup is empty, you're thirsty, and you can't eat your food. Or you requested a condiment to eat with your food, and the condiment has not came. So now your food is sitting there, you can't eat your food because you have not seen your server. Meanwhile, you're getting all this shitty ass service, and they got this 15, 18, 20% service tip charge that's coming to them. They don't give a damn about you. They already know they getting their tip. So they give you like this lackluster like service. Like, you're not even getting the minimum service that you should be getting, and they're already getting the tip. And then on top of that, they look at you funny when you don't even want to leave extra tip. It's like, what for? Like, why should I leave you an extra tip when you didn't even do the job that you were supposed to do? So it's like this service charge that they're adding onto your bill, they're not delivering, they're not even giving you the basic service that you deserve. It's like they already know that their tip is coming, so they just like, well, bump it, I ain't got to do shit. I'm already getting my tip. And I think it's really unfair. Like, it's unfair that you have to come in, you want to go out, you want to have a good time, and you want to enjoy, you know, being outside, not having to cook for once, and then you come to this restaurant getting lackluster service, and then you're paying somebody a tip that don't deserve it, right? So, you know, that's kind of like my frustrations with the whole tip. Then let's not even get on the fact that they try to be sneaky about the tip that's already been added onto your bill. Like, I know, like, some of y'all gonna comment, well, if you don't want to pay, you know, you should stay at home. But why should I? I want to go out and live life. It's not my fault that these are some shady ass practices these restaurant owners are practicing up in here. So then you have to look out when you're getting your bill. You have to pay attention to your bill when they give it to you, because some of them, like, sometimes I've been to places where they don't even want to give you like the itemized bill where you can see that the tip has been added. They try to bring like these little handhelds that, you know, just show your, or they'll just come and just show your total and say, oh, this is your total, this is what you're supposed to pay. They just try to be real sneaky about it. And then when you do like get on a card and then you have the receipt and then you're like, oh, you're trying to sign, and they don't bring you the itemized receipt back so you can see if you've been charged the bill. So you can't even ask them, you know, oh, was tip already included? Because you know what, they're gonna say no. They're gonna automatically say no, the tip was not included, when it was. That's the service fee. I'm already being charged for your service. So you have to look out for that too. You have to make sure that you read your bill, take a look at the bill and notate like whether or not the service fee was already added onto your bill. But I feel like, you know, some people, like, I've had a conversation with someone before who was working, had did like Uber Eats, and they were like talking about how they think they deserve, you know, they need a tip because they don't get paid as much X, Y, and Z. And so my thing is, a tip is not supposed to pay your salary. Like, I feel like that's what people are missing. The bigger picture here is that it wouldn't be this big of a deal and this big craze and all this shadiness over a tip if people were actually getting paid like fair wages. You know, you're supposed to be getting paid fair wages. So a tip isn't supposed to supplement your income. And I feel like that's where like a lot of people like are trying to say these days is, you know, they think they deserve this big ass tip because they don't get paid as much as being a server. Well, that's not my problem and it's not my fault, you know. Well, I wouldn't say not my problem, but it's really not my fault. A tip is supposed to, like, a tip for me is that you have went over and beyond a call of duty, and I am giving you compensation for going over and beyond for me. So I think, you know, people have just came to say like, oh, well, I did this, I need a tip. I did that, I deserve a tip. I mean, everything that is done doesn't need a tip. I don't need to tip you to do your job. I mean, I don't get tipped to do my job. So it's like, why is that a requirement? And I just think that there needs to be something done with giving fair wages to servers and people in the service industry. Because I do understand that, you know, as someone who has worked in the service industry, I understand like how demanding like people can be sometimes. Like, some people you just really don't want to serve them, and you really feel like you need a little bit of extra compensation for having to go over and beyond for some people. And so I get it, like, I really do get it, but I just think we just need like I think tips in general needs to really be reevaluated, and I think there should be something done about these restaurants charging these service fees. I just feel like it's unfair to me as a consumer, a customer that's coming to eat at a restaurant and I'm getting subpar service. Because if I complain about the service, are you going to take the service charge off? Like, if you're giving lackluster service, do I still have to pay the service charge? And it's just like, I'm still having to pay this service charge, and I've gotten, you know, shitty service, and no one seems to care because they already got the money for the tip. So I know, like, you know, tips are very, like, controversial topics, but I would love to hear your feedback on what you feel, what your viewpoints are in surrounding tips. Like, I do think there should be tips, but I just don't think that it should be dictated around like how much you spend. Maybe the quantity of what you spend, maybe that's a good way, because if you're ordering, you know, 10 drinks and every time you turn around you order this, you order that, you have a lot of demands, then I can understand, like, oh yeah, I need a tip, I need to be tipped for this, like, you know, you were just doing the most. But, you know, I just don't think a tip should be dictated based on the cost of what you receive, because a cost doesn't always necessarily say, oh, this was a very difficult task, this was a very difficult service. Like, it doesn't say that. Like, the cost does not say that. So I just really wish that we could come up with a way to where both consumers and owners are satisfied with how, you know, the tips, how do we determine fair tips. And I just think that's just something that, you know, we need to reevaluate. Like, as a whole, as a society, community, we need to reevaluate this, because this whole tip thing has really, you know, gotten out of hand. So I look forward to hearing you guys, y'all thoughts and, you know, comments and stuff on the topic, and I'll, you know, check in with you guys later.